If you are new here, hello everybody. My name's Riley and I'm a full-time reseller. Gonna cut to the chase. If you're coming back to my channel, thank you so much. I really appreciate you because that's why I do this, for you guys to come back to me. Mama honey. So anyway, that's something new that I just made up and I'm kind of like really rolling with it. I said it sarcastically in a couple videos ago, but now it's stuck. So anyway, I'm going to talk about the side of reselling that nobody really talks about. I want to say the negative side, but I really mean the side of reselling that you're not always constantly exposed to. So if you're a new reseller, if you've been reselling for a long time, or if you're even dabbling in reselling, you probably stumbled upon the reseller community, and everything you see is what they want you to see. Everything you see, usually on Instagram, is going to be great orders and all of these packages being sent out to USPS and all of these great sales and all this fun sourcing and all these cool finds where people are finding like luxury items at Goodwill. That's really what you're gonna see ultimately in the beginning when you join the reseller community. But that's not, reality. What you're seeing is a sugar-coated, curated version of what these people want you to see. And I am guilty of it, so I am not calling anybody out. It is perfectly normal to only post your success. I pretty much only post my success. That's the internet, that is social media. I'm not attacking anybody. I'm gonna keep posting my success, and I'm not gonna post all of the hard work that it takes because that's just not gonna motivate anybody. But I'm really making this video so that some of you guys can relate, or if you're new and you're thinking about getting into reselling, maybe, I don't want to say you'll think twice because I don't want to make people think twice because I think it is great. But just know that it's not this huge dream job where you're going to make 6 figures a year sitting on your computer from home. There's actually a lot more behind it. There's a lot of work. If you're me, there's actually literal tears. 4-star reviews I take personally, okay? Did I not send it fast enough? So anyways, one thing I don't want this video to be, because I kind of thought about making the video for a couple of weeks and then I thought, oh, maybe not, because I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I'm very grateful for the job and the opportunities that I have through reselling, because I'm a mother of 3 very small children and I'm able to stay home with them. So I don't want this to sound like a complaining video or even a warning video, because it's not. There are a lot of points that I'm going to make that a lot of people could say, well, you'd have that same problem at a regular job, which I understand. So I'm not going to compare it to regular jobs. I'm going to be in the realm of reselling, and I'm not going to step outside of that realm. So if I sound like I'm a whiny little baby and you're thinking, go get a real job then. I've worked in retail before. I don't want to go back out there. That's why I'm doing this, and because I love it. So that's kind of my PSA. I love being a reseller. I wouldn't change it. There are plenty of more pros than cons. That's why I'm here. Okay. One big thing for me is anxiety when I feel like I'm not working. I guess feeling like I'm not doing enough. So if you're someone who's prone to anxiety, reselling actually can cause a lot of it. I can wake up in the morning and I realize I didn't have any sales overnight, whatever. Breakfast is over, still didn't have any sales, so I'll start sharing my closet, I'll start getting active, dropping prices on eBay, doing what I can do. Still don't have a sale, and then my anxiety starts to increase, right? Even if I made $400 the day before, if I go a day without any sales, I really get anxiety. I get anxiety like every time, even though I know it's going to pick up again. I get anxiety like, what if I don't have any more sales? What if this is the end? I get anxiety about my competition. I get anxiety about feeling like I'm not sharing my closet enough, which causes anxiety. That goes right back to feeling like I'm not doing enough. I get anxiety when I send out an expensive order where someone, say, pays $100 for a dress, and I send it out and they don't accept it within like the next couple of days after they've received it. That causes anxiety. What if they're gonna try to return it? Especially on eBay. I have a video on eBay. eBay pretty much accepts any return. Like somebody could send me back a completely different dress and I'm out all the money because they're still gonna get a refund. So it does cause weird forms of anxiety, and if you're someone who's prone to anxiety, reselling can definitely come with that. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the anxiety side. I'm sure you guys can think of plenty more reasons that would cause anxiety. One thing that I'm not going to go into, I'll probably save it for a different video, but it is something that nobody really talks about, is tax time. Yes, you do. If you're not doing it as a hobby, you do have to claim your profits during tax time. because you're not paying taxes on the money that you are making. So keep record of everything that you spend on your business. Keep record of that. Keep the receipts. Tax time can be overwhelming. Like Intuit QuickBooks is helpful, but I do most of my calculations for tax time at the end of the year, and it takes me like 15 hours, give or take. If you sell quantity, okay, so there are some resellers who they really know what they're doing as far as like luxury items, and they will only buy like luxury items to resell. But if you are someone like me, I kind of do more bread and butter items, so I'm more geared towards the quantity side of things, right? Like I'm okay with making $15 on a sweater after fees and after what I paid for it. That's fine with me. If you're someone like this, don't expect to make $50 on every transaction. So when I first really stepped into the reseller community, although I had been reselling before I even knew the reseller community was a thing, I kind of realized, I don't want to say I realized, I saw a lot of people were making like $50 plus on like dresses and coats and really fancy shoes, and like they were making like a huge return on their investment. And I thought, well, I'm like the little guy. I'm only making like $15 a top here, but it does add up. And it can add up to equal or greater than these people who are, you know, selling only luxury items, right? So that's another thing nobody really tells you about. Don't expect to make $50 on every single piece that you sell. It's not really practical. I mean, depending on your area. For me, it's not practical because I could go sourcing from morning to sunset and I wouldn't find enough items to sell at $50 each in my area. So that's why I do bread and butter. I like selling things between $20 and $30. That's my good price point, between $20 and $30. If it sells more for that, great. If it sells for a little bit less, as long as I made a decent amount of profit and I didn't put too much time into it. I'm talking too quickly. I get it when I make videos like this, like that one video made 7 mistakes I made as a Poshmark seller, that video. I got like really into it. I was like talking super quickly. I had all these points to make and I was like blabbling on and on and on. I'm trying to like calm myself down. Here's a different one, and this may not go for every reseller, but nobody really talks about how many questions you actually do have to answer. And I'm not saying that that in itself is a bad thing, but if you're someone who, I mean, before I was a reseller, I was that person where somebody would text me and I would read their text, I would reply in my head, and then I would just never respond. And then I'd be sitting on their text and days later I'd respond like, oh, hey, what's up? Sorry, I didn't read your text. I'm always slow to respond. That's just my nature. I had to stop my nature. I still don't get back to every question, and it's something that I'm working on. Plan to put yourself out there more socially because you will have to respond to questions more. And if you are someone who is going to reach out and make an Instagram account just to be a part of the reseller community, put yourself out there. If you're someone who doesn't really like, you have a social barrier up, just bring it down for the sake of reselling. Something else nobody really talks about is how easy it is to overbuy past your means, or overbuy, I don't want to say means, overbuying inventory past what you're capable of actually flipping, right? So what I mean by that is I've been doing the clothing for a year. I've been reselling clothing on Poshmark for a year. I've been reselling vintage for over 3 years now. And I still have an issue sometimes when I get like a shopping kick, because I naturally love to shop, and I will go sourcing like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and I'll hit up garage sales and I'll go online and I'll go on some auction sites online, local auction sites, and I will take in all the stuff that I know has potential to flip. But then I bring it all home and I realize I just went in a little bit too deep, and it's going to take me a long time to actually list, photograph, measure. You know, I've brought things home that I don't even know why they're here. I brought a huge, like 50-pound old carousel horse that I thought, well, if I had my own antique shop, I know that bad boy would sell. But I can't ship this thing. I can barely store this thing. It was one of those like impulse buys where I'm like, okay, now I have a carousel horse because I thought that was great. So sometimes, you know, it's okay to go out there and go sourcing and bring a lot home, but it's also very easy. There's a fine line between what you can handle and what you can't handle. It's easy to go past that line. I've done it quite a few times. I completely eliminated my death pile. A death pile is something that people kind of sarcastically, they joke about within the reseller community. Oh, you know, I got to get rid of my death pile before I go sourcing again. I just had to get rid of it completely because I realized when I had a death pile, I would keep pushing it aside and bringing new stuff. And then, you know, this stuff that had been sitting there for weeks, I would almost forget it was there. So that's another thing that people don't always talk about, is just overbuy. If I had employees working for me, if I didn't have 3 children who were at my beck and call, I probably could handle a lot more, but it gets to a point where there has to be a point where you say, okay, I have to focus on the inventory that I do have and not what I could get. I like the way that sounded out. Quote me on that, okay? Quote that one, because that one would be like a good little meme, like an inspirational one. Here's one that I'm just going to throw out there, which this one may be common sense, so you may be wondering, why is she even talking about this? But I'm just going to throw it out there because it is the dark side of reselling. All the counterfeits you will run into. I'm to the point now where I can identify a counterfeit comfortably, but I kind of thought, I remember when I was like 16 and I found out that like you could buy a fake Chanel bag from like somebody's basement. I thought that was like cool, but also weird. But I thought it was like really hard to get counterfeits at the time. You know, I was 16, I was kind of naive. I was like, that's illegal. Like, you can't sell illegal stuff. You're gonna go to prison. So I just didn't think it was a very prevalent thing. But now that I actually go sourcing all the time, I realize how many counterfeits you run into. I mean, you'll run into fake Prada shoes, you'll run into fake counterfeit Coach bags, which Coach bags have a weird reselling rate where they like lose value the minute you walk out of the store with them. So I don't know why people make counterfeit Coach bags, but there are plenty of them out there. Counterfeit Burberry, counterfeit Dior. There's just so much counterfeit out there. So if you're not comfortable buying luxury and you're going to like a thrift store and you see something, I know your heart wants to tell you that it's real, but just really, really do research on it. If that thrift store does not take returns, bring that crap to the counter and tell them, listen, if I get home and I find out this bag is fake and you guys knowingly sold it to me fake, I'm gonna call the Better Business Bureau. Because a lot of people don't know this, but even Goodwill, even thrift stores, yes, if they knowingly sell a counterfeit item, if they don't know, there's nothing you can do about it. But if they knowingly sell a counterfeit, that's illegal, even if it was donated to them. So I just put that out there. Be very wary of counterfeits because you wouldn't believe what people counterfeit. There's counterfeit Lululemon clothing, counterfeit clothing. I'm just going to make a couple of quick points that I'm not really going to go into detail with. Things like difficult buyers. I don't really want to go into that too much because, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory, you know, difficult buyers, you know, returns. But yeah, returns. Things like 1-star reviews and 4-star reviews. Things like hidden fees. Like eBay, they take out different fees for different types of items, and then there's a listing fee, and then if you have it on automatic relist, they're going to be relisting those items every 30 days, and that's going to be more. So just little things like that. I guess you could put them on the dark side of reselling, but I'm not going to go into detail with them because, like I said, they're really self-explanatory. So I'm really happy with everything that I talked about. Like I said, I don't want to make it sound like I'm complaining because I'm so lucky to be doing this. I'm so lucky to be where I am. That's all I really wanted to talk about today. I'm just going to end this video with, please don't attack me. I'm sensitive. I always get someone on my videos who just takes it the wrong way. Like, well, why are you doing this then? I'm just trying to let you guys know it's not the easiest job in the world. A lot of people will probably assume that, wow, you get to go thrifting all day and make money, but there is so much more behind it. I'm not even going to get into like sharing your closet constantly because that is something I am not good at, but I don't want to throw that in the negative side of things because, like I've said in previous videos, I actually kind of like the fact that you can share your closet because it makes you feel more productive when you're having an anxiety-filled day where you feel like you're not doing enough. So I'm just going to end my video with that. as always, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, my name on Instagram is honey.rags. And from there, there's a link tree to all of my platforms. I'm going to leave that link down below in the description. So, as always, thank you so much for watching and happy selling.